stopper out of the canyon, that was hooked up to a rope over into our area, and the sailors grabbed it and pulled a bigger and bigger rope, and finally they had two ropes and had what they call a breeches buoy, and put him on in a straitjacket and pulled him across there out of this little corvette, which was tiny. We were a very big ship here, and just diving, and we were too. Pretty interesting. Oh, it was very interesting to me.
Did he make it over all right?
Yeah, came over fine. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what.
What happened to the rest of your crew members?
Well, the enlisted men, I don't know. We never maintained contact with them, or tried to find some. I've tried to find some on various times without success. Of course, we were closer to, officers were closer together, bunked together and so forth. The navigator, my navigator, was 19 when we were flying over there, and I was 23. Pilot was 28. Co-pilot was 19. Navigator stayed over there. He spoke 7 languages. He was German, and he stayed over there. They made him a language officer of the occupying army. Promoted him to first lieutenant, I guess. They promoted me to first lieutenant about the time I finished my mission. Pilot was already first lieutenant, and I don't recall about the co-pilot. Pilot made captain finally. I think the co-pilot made first lieutenant. The pilot stayed in the Army, Air Corps. Of course, it was Army then, and flew. Was a test pilot for a while. Tremendous pilot, very good pilot. He was from Houston, incidentally. Co-pilot was from Dallas. Navigator from Pennsylvania. I was from Midland, Texas. Co-pilot, married, went to school, got a degree in geology. Married one with a couple of children, and along about, I guess 1970, she killed him in a family dispute. She shot him. I don't know what was the disposition of that. I never did learn of the reason for it. In his home. The pilot had an automobile accident and developed blood clot on the brain that was operated on, and was pretty well invalid. Well, he was invalided out. I guess he was out before then, but he became pretty much walking invalid. You know, he could think and so forth, but he was nowhere near himself. He died about 1980, I guess. Navigator became professor of 17th century German literature at Berkeley. Just retired about 6 months ago. Good friend, great guy. His name was Blake Spar. Pilot was Roland White. Co-pilot was Neely, Bill Neely. Radio operator was Bartson. Toledo was the waist gunner. Russell was the ball turret gunner. Robinson was the tail gunner. Grebb was the engineer. They were all good quality. We shared a lot of experiences together, and of course a lot of fear. Interesting thing about flying combat or being in danger, you know, you're a fool if you're not afraid. And when you go out on a mission like our 8th mission was to Merseyburg, 12 go out and 6 make it back. You know, if your mathematical mind begins to calculate your chances. That was our 8th mission. I figured I was good as dead. And I went we got a 48-hour leave in London right after that. And I went to the Grosvenor House, which fed meals to Allied officers, French, Belgian, British, American, so forth. Fed 4,000 a sitting, fed 3 sittings a meal. I went there for, I guess, lunch. And I watched all of them come in and go out. 12,000 men, I didn't know a single soul. I was looking for somebody I'd trained with other than my own group. I knew the box we were in. I didn't know where everybody else was in the same box. Now I want to find out. But pretty lonely. It's interesting when you, of course, you finally, you come to terms with it. When I first realized how dangerous it was, people getting killed in all directions, I prayed the best I was able to God to give me assurance I'd live through it. And I did that for some time, 2 or 3 weeks, without any assurance, without feeling any such assurance. And things were pretty rough, and finally I realized what I thought my chances were not good at all, and I prayed that I could do my job while I lived and die like a man when it was time, my time came. And after that, I was pretty comfortable. I was scared. You can smell your own fear, particularly inside an oxygen mask. You know, nothing like it.
You said it was lonely, even though you had acquaintances, friends.
Sure. I wanted to touch base with somebody who this wasn't going to happen to. Somebody who was going to survive all this, maybe. Because I didn't feel like those of us there had any chance. Of course we did, but it didn't look like we did.
Did you keep a tally like the guy before you did on the wall?
No, I didn't. In fact, I didn't write a diary because of, I guess, superstition. I thought, hell, I'm not going to catalog this. As a matter of fact, I trained myself not to think about completing the tour. And I didn't, up till I had, at the time I had the 30th mission, I thought, you know, there's a slim chance I might live through this son of a bitch. No, don't think about it. And I didn't think about it until got down to I had 1 mission left. The pilot had flown 1 mission before the rest of the crew. He went as a co-pilot, fill-in co-pilot, acquaint him with what's happening. So he finished, his 35th mission was my 34th. And I had to fly as fill-in. I flew with Lieutenant Swearingen and his crew, 35th mission. But I flew the 34th mission on Christmas Eve and the 35th mission on January 3rd. And in the meantime, the buzz was hot and heavy. And they were having, they couldn't get to the buzz, but they were having short missions in and supply lines for the buzz and so forth, which I dearly wanted to go on a short mission, and I figured I could probably live through that. And I'd wait to be waked up. Then I'd ask them, I'm not going, no, Watford, you're not going. Finally, they woke me up. Watford, you're flying today. I said, how many gallons are we taking? They said, 2,700. I thought, God damn. Yeah, they've saved me for this. You know, they had all these short missions, now they got me on one of these great long ones, you know. What I didn't realize was we were carrying extra fuel in the event we had to fly back out of England and land in France and couldn't, you know, weather was so bad. And it was an easy mission, basically, to Frankfurt Airfield. But when I got through, there was one other man in the squadron. I don't know what he was, I think Commander, but I'm not sure. Who finished his mission, same mission. He and I were the only 2. We shot up all the flares on each airplane. I had a great time. Landed, you know, we had a debriefing and so forth. After that, went up to the club. And I had 5 pounds. I don't know what he had, but I drank 3 pounds of whiskey at 40. It's a double shot, I guess. And felt pretty good. Getting ready to leave, and they were having a crap game out there, and I got went out the crap game. I thought I had 2 pounds left. I thought I'll just shoot this 2 pounds. And I waited till the dice came to me. I said, I'll shoot 2 pounds, and my buddy there who finished said, he shoots 5. He put 3 with it. And I shot dice for about 10 minutes without ever crapping out. And finally, I had a huge pile of pound notes and some 5-pound notes. The result of that was I finally just passed the dice. I said, well, I'm happy enough, you know, I quit. I had $2,200, what amounted to $2,200, and he had 32 or 3, I forget what it was. And I picked up my 100 pounds was $440, I think. I owed my partner 100 pounds. I woke him up, I went back to back, woke him up, here's your 100 pounds.
Yeah, you lucky bastard.
That was a fine day, fine day.
When you got back to the States, you were released from active duty?
No, well, I had 2 weeks leave and went home. And I had made the mistake when I had been accepted as for bombardier training. Midland Army Air Base had a bombardier training school there, one of 7 or 8. And I thought, boy, wouldn't it be nice if I was stationed here? So I told them, I live there, why don't you put me there? So they put me in California. So I didn't say anything about it when I came back, and they all returned bombardiers went to Midland Army Air Base, including me. And I went through their refresher course and did real well on their tests, and they made me an instructor. And I was instructed in the advanced bombing problems. So all return bombardiers came through there, and I instructed them as well as Chinese cadets, Brazilian cadets, and a couple other odd groups, which was pretty interesting. And I did that up till actually the time I got out on points in July, I believe, 45. I was a pretty nice time. Home was 4 miles away.
What'd you do after you got out?
I got out, I got married and re-entered Texas Tech. I got divorced in a month or 2, withdrew from school for that semester, re-entered this next semester, and I was a junior. I had been civil engineering major. I became a petroleum engineering major with a geology option, which was, I had 54 hours of geology and made a living thereafter in geology. And remarried middle of my senior year. Went to work in San Antonio, what's now Amoco, and got out of school on the 17th of July, 1948, went to work on the 20th. $316 a month, worked a year, got a $20 raise to $336. I was coming home after that, about a month after that raise, and I saw a man I thought I knew. I said to myself, that looks like old Getty, and I stopped about 2 or 3 miles from home, about 10 miles out of the middle of San Antonio. The guy was coming out of his house with a tripod over his shoulder. I stopped, and it was Getty, and he had been and was a geology student at Texas Tech. Getty, what the hell are you doing here? He said, I'm taking baby pictures. What for? He said, well, we couldn't any of us get a job. And when I got out, I had 17 job offers a year he said, they're working for the post office, they're working everywhere. This outfit, he said, I'm working for this outfit, we take baby pictures, send people the prints, the proofs, if they like them, they buy some, and so on, out of Dallas. He said, can you help me maybe get on in the oil business? I said, I got no stroke at all, but I know the district geologist, of course, and I'll tell him that you're a capable man, and you'll come up there tomorrow, and I'll recommend you. And he thanked me so much, He said, by the way, how much do you make? I said, well, I worked a year, I got $20 raise. I make $336. He talked a little longer. I said, how much you make at this job? He said, $550. And he didn't come next day. And later he became president of that photographic outfit in Dallas. I haven't heard from him in years. I don't know where he is, what he's done. He's a nice guy. My first mission was to Brest, France. We got swung in and over and out without opposition. I thought, well, this combat is not too tough. My second mission was Rouen, France. We were bombing basically the front lines, and that was a mission, incidentally, that General McNair was killed by bombs which fell short. The whole Air Force was bombing along the front lines. I don't know whose bombs hurt him. We went in, as I recall, 14,000 feet, which is way too low. We shot at it, B-17. We were flying in. We lost 3 planes out of our 12. We were flying right wing off the leader, the left wing off the leader, opposite us to the left. Was hit. I was looking at him. He was hit between or in the gas tank by the right inboard engine. While I was looking, as he was hit, 3 or 4 bombs fell through the bomb bays. We'd not yet opened our bomb bays, and blazed up in the wing. He flew 2 or 3 seconds straight and level. Then he pulled up and fell off towards us on the side to the right. I was in the nose, of course. He missed us, looked like he was going to hit us. And I yelled, take it down, take it down. The pilot was in the right seat, didn't see him. The co-pilot saw him barely in time to take it down. He ducked the airplane. We had a shudder as he passed over us. I thought he'd hit the right wing as he went over, but it turned out the flak hit it. But I looked up in his plane as he came over us. He was 6 feet away. And there was a solid wall of fire from the right inboard engine all the way back to the tail. It burned all of the, in those matter of seconds, it burned all the aluminum off the tail and most of the waste. The right seat, the pilot's seat, was a huge ball of fire covered up the pilot's place. Had to be dead. We're talking about like 5 seconds from the first hit. He fell off on our right. I couldn't see him after that. I could see eventually 2 men jumped out. I saw one of them later by looking back. He exploded 1,000 feet below us, something like 8 seconds after the initial hit. One of the men's chute never did open. May have burned, I don't know. The other one opened and he went on down. I saw him swinging down there looking back underneath as far as I could. A horrible sight. The flame, of course red, fed also quite a bit of black in the middle of the flame, fed by oil in the gasoline. Really a horrible sight. When he passed over me so close, he heated my nose compartment noticeably. Scared me to death. And we got back and landed. I guess the best volunteer friend I had in the group I trained with came in after me, and his name was Wasey. He was Lithuanian. And I'd already gotten through debriefing and back to base. He'd taken a little longer because their tail gunner had been killed by a flak on that mission. He came through and said, "Tex, they're trying to kill us." They goddamn sure are. But that was my indoctrination really into combat. Several things that taught me. Number one is in training, I had always put my chest chute, which is hooked onto a harness by a couple of clips on the chest. I'd always had it by my right front foot and figured I had plenty of time to hook it on. But after seeing that and the speed at which that happened, ever after that, whenever I was in danger area, I wore it hooked by one hook. I could always hook the other hook, but I wanted it along with me if I had to jump out. About a month later, incidentally, the bombardier on that particular plane, we called Fuddle. We called him Fuddle because whenever we had these articles of war repeat lectures, or these BD repeat lectures, they'd always go through the same bullshit and finally wind up and say, "Are there any questions?" And he would always have one. Everybody was trying to get out, you know. We called him Fuddle for that reason. And I knew Fuddle had to be dead because in the first place he was quite a ways away from the exit hatch, but he showed up in the barrack, our barrack. He was the one man who got out, and he was bitching about they're going to send him home without a promotion. But then I'd had enough mission where I figured I was a dead man anyway. I said, "You're an idiot." And I said, "How'd you get out of this? For Christ's sake, how'd you get out?" He said, "Well, I had my chute on, and when it hit right there by me, right inboard engine, I just dived back and dived out the hatch. And when I went out, the co-pilot was bucked in the leg straps on his harness. Nobody else lived." That was, we realized we were in war. Maybe 800,000 heavy bomber lose 40 to 60. Pretty big loss. But when it gets down and you're in the squadron, you lose 3 here, 2 there, 6 here, and so forth. And you start adding that up, and you think, man, this is pretty dangerous business. Of course, there aren't any heroes, really. I think all heroes already decided they're dead when they become heroes. Everybody's scared. You realize, though, that everybody's doing it. And if everybody can do it, so can you. And the truth is, everybody can. Just about everybody can. And that's, of course, a product of the training and the discipline. Nobody liked it much. Good. Talked to a number of people there in the base before crews returned. We decided to be generally pretty flak happy. And about halfway through my tour, I was in you might want to tape this. I don't know.
It's on.
I was in my Quonset hut by myself, big hut, hold 40, 50 men. I was making my bed. I'd gotten up late and the rest of them were out somewhere who were there, and I guess it was just our crew stood down that day. But I was thinking about, in the middle of my tour, I was thinking about a pretty tough deal, you know. I've always been interested in poetry and enjoyed reading a little bit. I was singing to myself while I was making my bed. Stand to your glasses steady. Tomorrow's sun may never rise. Here's a glass to the dead already. Hooray for the next man who dies. And I've always liked that little song. I looked up and there was a new crew just standing there. Had just come in, the edge of the barracks, and they were looking at me like that. I know exactly what they thought. I thought, boy, he's black happy.
And it really bastard, man.
PM or FM?